Dobar dan I dobrodošli. Sit down and relax as we are about to read some webtoons and manga. I recommend purchasing the official scans or translations and reading along with those open as well, for a better reading experience and to support the creators behind the works that I react to in my streams. Links are in the description. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, and Patreon, so subscribe to or follow some European chick if you want to read along and suggest what to read next. Now without further ado, let's read. Inoue Takehiko interviews. So even though I dropped Vagabond, I'm still gonna go through with what I planned for every comic that I do read on my streams, which is I end the comics, like the entire journey, I round it up by reading interviews with the creator or creators at the end of the journey. And because we've reached the end of the Vagabond journey, even though I haven't finished the manga, but I dropped it, I will still read the Takehiko Inoue interviews. Yes, big Elda. So because I didn't have enough time to plan this all out properly, this is going to be the format of today. I think I'm going to change the format. Definitely I'm going to have to change the format to be more fitting for this type of stream. But for now, this is what we're going to have. It's just going to be me reading out the interviews that I read on my phone. I could have just added a screen where we read the words together, like it's not censored, we just read it together, but I thought then you can just go read it yourself. I'm gonna put the interviews, like the links to the interviews, I'm gonna put in the description of YouTube after the stream. So yeah, the first one we're starting with is the one on INOUE. I think I want to start with this one because it gives a good overview of Inoue with Slam Dunk and with Vagabond, like his feelings towards both of these works. It's a good way to enter this. Now, I have no idea how many interviews there are with Inoue out there. I just found how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 interviews. I hope they're not like that they're all different interviews. I did look through the first 5 or so pages of the Google search results and gathered these 10, did I say 9 or 10 interviews. I left out some where the source was just missing. Like, let's say there's a DeviantArt link of an interview, like translated into English, but there's no date of when the interview took place, nor where this was published initially, so it could have been made up as well. So where it's not confirmed, I left out those interviews. I also, I think, left out interviews that were conducted with 2 creators, or like one creator asking another creator. Like, I think there was one with Eiichiro Oda, who's the creator of One Piece, and now I forgot the name of the creator of Dragon Ball. What the fuck? Toriyama Akira. And one was the creator of Kingdom, because he used to be Inoue's assistant. So I left those 3 out because they were more focusing on how they respect each other and what they love about each other. So, like, okay, we don't necessarily need that to round up the Vagabond stream. And again, I'll say this here: we cannot read Slam Dunk on stream because there is no digital release of the original, like official this translation. It was also the case for Vagabond, actually. but I did find scanlations of the official Viz translation, which I used. So excuse me, in order to read online, I downloaded the first 10 or 15, I can't remember because I deleted them as soon as I dropped it, 10 or 15 volumes of the scanlation of the official Viz translation, because I thought that can sit right with my conscience, because I have the first 15 volumes in my shelf, right? And I do link to the Viz website where you can buy the paperback version of Vagabond. Yeah, sadly there is no digital release, but for a Slam Dunk, there is no official release here in Austria. And there is no scanlation of the Viz official translation of Slam Dunk, so we can't read that, unfortunately. I wanted to read Slam Dunk. I really wanted to, but we can't do that now. And I'm not gonna read, like, unofficial translations or unofficial, like, scanlations of unofficial translations. I'm not gonna do that on stream. All right, so the first interview, INF News. The title is, so this is from the 14th. How is that possible? This is from today. This is from today. The 14th of April, 2022. It's from today. Wow. Damn. Okay, so this is the latest one. We're getting, like, the first interview we're reading is the newest one, the freshest one. And we can't read the chat. You can't read the chat when you're watching me read this, but I can read the chat. So I will answer to chat messages if there are any that are worthy of answering. All right, starting. The title is, There are so many secrets behind the author of the classic anime Slam Dunk, Takehiko Inoue. Slam Dunk has ended for 20 years, but the phrase, "Coach, I want to play basketball," by Hisashi Mitsui has become a classic buzzword. In addition, various "Coach, I want XXX" sentences have also been derived. This sentence expresses Mitsui Sho's aspirations and also reminds many people of the youthful blood buried deep in their hearts. I'm looking at the panel. Another reason why I didn't want to put the interviews on screen is because there's so many ads. So many ads. It's just not pretty to look through, to scroll through on stream, so I'm just gonna read it in a clean manner. And if you wanna, as I said, I'm gonna put the links in the description of the YouTube video in the order that I read the interviews, okay? Slam Dunk, a work that stands at the top of the blooded comics pyramid. I guess this is an article and not an interview, but it doesn't matter. It's a good introduction to the stream. Slam Dunk, a work that stands at the top of the blooded comics pyramid, has published more than 140 million comic books. I don't know how many people fell in love with basketball because of this anime. Many of the youthful memories of those born in the 80s and 90s flash the figures of Sakuragi Flower Road and Rukawa Maple. Why the fuck is that? Why are the names like this? Who translated the names, the first names of the characters in the literal sense? It's called Sakuragi Hanamichi, okay? And Rukawa Kaede. Not Sakuragi Flower Road and Rukawa Maple. Who did this? Why? Why? No! I hope it's not gonna happen anymore. would you do this? Oh, Akagi Haruko's sentence. So we're gonna keep Haruko's name as Haruko. What? Why not Spring Child? Why are you not calling her Akagi Spring Child? Oh my god. Akagi Haruko's sentence, do you like basketball? Not only made Sakuragi Hanado step into the world. Hanado! It's as if someone used the wrong reading of Hanamichi. Is he called Hanado or Hanamichi? Because the translations that I read, he's called Hanamichi. But maybe Hanado is correct. But then again, if we watch the anime, it should be like his name said to us in the correct way. I just know from the translation that I read. Oh, that was a long time ago, actually. It was Sakuragi Hanamichi. But Michi and Do have the same, like, it's the same kanji, but the thing is, in combination with the other kanji, you read it differently. So it could be Hanado for all I know. We gotta take a look at the anime and how they pronounce his name there. But from what I know, it's Hanamichi. Joshua Blanco sings, so he just left it there dying. He came back and found his dead pet crowded by ants. He took his pet, looked at it, then plopped it into his mouth. Next day, doctor told him he got heart stomach flu. What the fuck are you talking about? Joshua Blanco. What? Is it Hanamichi or is it Hanado? Hanamichi seems more natural to me, but maybe just because I'm used to that one translation. Should be Hanamichi. Hold the fuck up now. Now we are checking, okay? I'm looking at... Come on. Sakuragi... Yeah, it's Hanamichi. Why is the first search result, like, suggestion Hanamichi death? What the fuck? It should be Hanamichi, anyway. And not Hanado. Who the fuck translated this interview? Or wrote this article? What the fuck? We have Flower Road and Maple. Anyway, Hanamichi. Hanado would be a... Hanamichi is also a really weird name, but Hanado would be even weirder. Anyway. Sakuragi Hanamichi. Anyway. It's a 2-comment thing. Here's first part. Tatsuki Fujimoto had a pet killfish that died when he was 24. His girlfriend told him to bury it, so he went to a park to bury it, but the ground was hard. Why are you telling me about... This is not a Chainsaw Man stream. This is not a Tatsuki Fujimoto stream. I do not care about that. We're reading Vagabond interviews. Takehiko Inoue interviews. Don't talk to me about Fujimoto right now. I love the man, but this is not the time and place, okay? Anyway. Akagi Haruko's sentence, do you like basketball? Not only made Sakuragi Hanado step into the world of basketball, but also made countless fans fall in love with basketball. That is true. Luke's lad, will you read to me and tell me it's gonna be okay? Yeah. Everything's gonna be alright. Do not worry. I remember that when Slam Dunk hits the air, you can always see groups of teenagers playing basketball on the road. What the fuck does that mean? The filming location of Slam Dunk is even more regarded as a pilgrimage route by fans, yeah. One of the most popular is the Kamakura Gaomae station, where Haruko beckons into to Sakuragi into fuck, to Sakuragi. I even though I didn't watch the anime, I've seen the openings and I've seen clips, and even to me, it's like kind of nostalgic looking at this now. Maybe I'm gonna watch Slam Dunk, even though it looks more like a PowerPoint slideshow. It doesn't matter. Anyway, this small station has become a popular spot where you need to wait in line to take pictures. Slam Dunk is a sports manga serialized by Inoue Takehiko in Shueisha magazine Weekly Shonen Jump from 1990 to 1996. A total of 31 volumes have been published. Now imagine, within 6 years he published 31 volumes. And Miura couldn't publish like 38 volumes in like 40 years, 30, 40 years. Not saying that I prefer one or the other, but honestly, when it comes to work ethic, I have to say Inoue is amazing. Okay? He's amazing, especially compared to Miura. Amazing. Will this have Vagabond spoilers, or is this purely a Slam Dunk interview? I have no idea. We're gonna see. We're gonna find out, too. And hi, Kasapyang. Slam Dunk got its own aesthetic of 90s anime. Too bad it didn't finish. The anime didn't finish, yep, but the manga did. And the anime is getting an end this year, actually, when the movie comes out. There's an animated movie that's gonna come out this year. That's like the final arc of the manga. So look forward to that. A total of 31 volumes have been published, which has repeatedly set records in Japan. In 1995, he won the 40th Shogakukan Comic Award. By 2004, the cumulative sales of comics exceeded 100 million. It is said that about every 400 Japanese people own one, and wait, every 400 Japanese people own one? Honestly, doesn't make much sense, but okay. It is said that about every 400 people own one, and it is rated as the manga most wanted for their son. What? Okay. By Japanese women. Okay. With this manga, Inoue Takehiko has made it into the list of top 10 manga artists who changed the history of Japanese manga in Oricon's public trust list. Yes. Agreed. Sapyang saying, yeah, I'm hyped for the movie, finished anime and manga, and I cry when I finish the manga. Aww. See, this is why I wanted to read the manga on stream, but sadly we can't. In addition to creation, Takehiko Inoue founded the Slam Dunk Scholarship in 2006 to support teenagers with basketball dreams. Oh, he has such a passion for basketball, he's even doing that. In an interview, he said, because of the sport of basketball, Slam Dunk can resonate with so many people. So I also want to take this opportunity to do something to help readers in society who support this work. And thank you for the sport of basketball and give back. Hold on. Parts of the interview are covered by an ad? Or not? Yeah, it is covered. See, this, I hate this website. What the fuck? Yeah, okay, parts of the interviews are covered by these fucking ads. Like, the next sentence is just Basketball Association to encourage his contribution to the promotion of basketball. The rest of the sentence is just... I hate these websites. I wish we had just one master post somewhere of all the interviews stitched together with all the timestamps of when they were taken, like which year, and what the topic is. Although many people are familiar with Slam Dunk, they don't know much about the author, Takehiko Inoue. I don't like how this article jumps around with the names. Like, at first, it started with the last name, Inoue, and then Takehiko, the first name, and now it's jumping to first name, last name. Like, pick a way and stick with it. Is it Inoue Takehiko? Like what we've been saying all this time? Or is it Takehiko Inoue? Like, don't jump around and switch the places for these names. Want me to put rest here? Wait, what? What does that mean, Epi? Want me to put rest here? What does that mean? Although many people are familiar with Slam Dunk, they don't know much about the author Takehiko Inoue. Rest of that article. No, I don't want you to put that where. The rest here, where? We're here. Like, I'm reading it here. And I will put the links, as I said, in the description of the YouTube video, in the order that I read the articles and the interviews. You don't need to put anything anywhere. In fact, creators like Inoue Takehiko, so we're back to last name, first name, have already surpassed the existence of cartoonists. What the fuck does that mean? What does that— who the fuck wrote this? What is INOUE? What the fuck kind of site is this? It doesn't seem like a professional or reputable site. Especially after the work Ludoin Swordsman was born, more people called him an artist. The fuck is Ludoin Swordsman? The fuck is— and again, an ad covering the fucking interview. Like, it starts mid-sentence. Cold eyes are somewhat similar to those of the actor Tadanobu Asano. I have no idea what was supposed to be said here. Maybe if I look at it this way. Huh. Yeah, the ad is just fucking covering. It's just covering this. Okay. Now, you have to click it away several fucking times in order to see what was being said. So the first one that was covered and I couldn't see was in 2010, Inoue Takehiko even received a special commendation from the Japan Basketball Association to encourage his contribution to the promotion of basketball. Very nice. And now, I have no idea— what is Ludoin Swordsman? Especially after the work Ludoin Swordsman was born, more people called him an artist. Are they talking about Vagabond and calling it Ludoin Swordsman? Or does he actually have a work that is called Ludoin Swordsman? When Chainsaw Man went from chapter 1 to 97, Berserk released 4 chapters, yeah. Can someone— Epi, can you look up if Inoue has released a work that is called Ludoin Swordsman? I'm so confused right now. Checking, actually. Thank you. How do you spend that? Spend what? Virgil Hawkins, what do you mean? How do you spend that? Spell that. It's spelled as— hold on. Ludoin Swordsman. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what the Ludoin is. I mean, we know about Ludoni. Is written and illustrated by Nobuhiro Watsuki. Why is this in Inoue? Ludoin is written and illustrated, but is it Ludoin Swordsman or just Ludoin? I know about Ludoni Kenshin, and Kenshin means swordsman. Ludoni Kenshin, which is in English, I think it was called Samurai X or something like that. Rurouni Kenshin was a different work altogether. Rurouni Kenshin, Meiji Swordsman, Romantic Story. Yeah, so I have no idea. What the fuck does that mean? Who the fuck wrote this article? Maybe he was an assistant. An assistant for Rurouni Kenshin when Inoue was already an established mangaka. Why would he be an assistant when he's already his own mangaka? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm really confused about this article. In the photo, Takehiko Inoue, again, first name, last name, is very similar to his manga character. Which manga character? And his cold eyes are somewhat similar to those of the actor Tadanobu Asano. I feel the site took random articles and put them through AI to place ads and stuff. Yeah. This entire article is too much of a mess. We're gonna continue reading it. Maybe we're gonna get some kind of view into an introduction to Inoue and then get to the actual fucking interviews and get a better overview. But anyway. Low-key, he always makes people feel mysterious. Yeah, this was Google translated or something. This does not make any fucking sense. Low-key, he always makes people feel mysterious. What the fuck does that mean? And I spat everywhere. Fortunately, there is a documentary that allows people who like him to get to know this manga master. The Secrets of Inoue's Creation, produced by NHK. Can we fucking watch that? Which took a year of personal interviews, follow-up interviews, and interviews. What does that mean? Personal interviews, follow-up interviews, and interviews? Just say interviews, bitch! What the hell? Gave us a glimpse of how Inoue's creation. Yeah, this was Google translated. This is... Rurouni means wandering masterless samurai, right? Yeah, did they poorly translate Vagabond or something? That's what I thought too. Is that supposed to be like Vagabond? But also they said it wrong. It wasn't Rurouni, it was Ruroin. Ruroin. Ruroin Swordsman. So what the fuck was what the fuck is that? If that is Ruroin, I've never heard that word before. I just know Rurouni Kenshin, but Ruroin I've never heard, and Ruroin Swordsman I've never heard before. So maybe they were trying to translate Vagabond somehow but Vagabond is already Vagabond. Like, the title of the manga is Vagabond. You can't translate an English word into English and use other words. Anyway. Through this record, you can get a close understanding of Inoue's daily life and how he overcomes the difficulties encountered in manga creation. If you also like his work, don't miss it. The Secrets of Cartoonist Takehiko Inoue's Creation, director, NHK. More ads. Stop seeing this ad. Not interested in this ad. Screenwriter, NHK. Oh, papa. A director, NHK, starring Inoue Takehiko, duration 58 minutes. Even more ads. I hate this website. Maybe I shouldn't have chosen this one. Manga artist Inoue Takehiko was born on January 12th, 1967 in Kagoshima Prefecture, Kyushu, Japan. Representative works Slam Dunk, Rurouni Swordsman, and so on. They really wanted to say Vagabond. They really wanted to say Vagabond. The fuck is Rurouni Swordsman? Representative works Slam Dunk, Vagabond, and so on. What the fuck is and so on? This is not even a complete sentence. Where is the verb? What many people do not know is that Inoue Takehiko was once an assistant to the manga artist Hojoji, the author of City Hunter. Oh really? I had no idea. The talented Inoue Takehiko is also considered, and again we're jumping from first name to last name first. The talented Inoue Takehiko is also considered to be better than blue. Did you hear? He's considered to be better than blue. Our Inoue. So much better than blue. What the fuck does that mean? Who the fuck wrote this article? After the myth of slam dunk ended. What myth? What are you talking about? Takehiko Inoue suddenly changed his style of painting and used brushes to paint. In 1998, he began to create the manga Swordsman. Vagabond! Based on Eikawa Eiji's Miyamoto Musashi. We're not gonna continue reading this. This is bullshit. There's so much to read still. Like, I'm scrolling and we're still not done. There's so much to read still, but if it's just gonna be all wrong and weird, we're not gonna fucking read this. There's no author here. Just the publishing date. HKT. Shame on you. Rudo in Swordsman was in is where the series gets better. Oh my god, yeah, I'm not even gonna link this stupid ass article. This is so dumb. Okay, INF News. This is what it looks like. Do not read this shit. It's nonsensical. We're reading. Another one. Hold on. Another one that I've opened was on min.news. Like min.news, but it's the same style. As you can see, it's like the same style. Min.news, it's just full of ads. And it says, Inoue Takehiko. When I drew the ending of Slam Dunk, I was not at all confused. What the fuck does that mean? Also published today. 14th of April, as you can probably not see on camera. And also HKT. And also at the same fucking time. This is why oh my god. Why can't there be like a master post somewhere of Inoue's interviews translated into English? By year, by topic. Elda was reading the wrong manga all along. Oh yeah. I think they're crunching Inoue articles because Slam Dunk is coming soon, or you are creating Inoue buzz through your videos. Yeah. How to piss off Elda 101. Yeah, true. Just be real is another one of Inoue's works, I know, but I'm on the fence about reading it because I still haven't gotten over Slam Dunk, and my expectation is as high as Slam Dunk too. Understandable, Kasupyung. Understandable. Anyway, let's try and read this one, but if it's gonna be like the last one, I am a person who refuses to admit defeat. I can only increase my level, not decrease it. NHK documentary. The True Colors of Experts. Takehiko Inoue. These are not complete fucking sentences. What is happening? The 90s was a magical age. Yeah, true. Every boy shot 75 finger guns. shot 75 finger guns and imagined that the pill shot from his finger hit the wall repeatedly. He wanted to hit the double limit. With the basketball, imagine himself jumping high and dunking hard. Moment. Like, I'm not hard, period, moment. This is insane. The Basketball Bible of Slam Dunk came out in 1990 and was serialized in 1996, setting off an all-Asian basketball trend. We're not gonna read this either. This is insane. What the fuck are these websites on? Oh my god. Yeah, this is not off to a good start. Fuck. Tumblr has much better version of interviews. I didn't know. What the fuck? Like, I went through 5 pages of the Google search results. And I'm confused. Let's read the Manga Planet exclusive interview with Takehiko Inoue that was published June 26th, 2021. So last year. To celebrate the release of Buzzer Beater on Manga Planet, the Manga Planet team had the honor to interview its creator, Takehiko Inoue. Oh, this is Manga Planet saying, "It's been 25 years since Buzzer Beater was first serialized as a webcomic. What do you think about the fact that it will be distributed again on Manga Planet?" Inoue: "It is one of the happiest things for an artist to be able to have people read their work, even after some time has passed. It makes me very happy." What the fuck are we reading? I want to read interviews about Vagabond. What the fuck is this Buzzer Beater even? I'm not gonna read this. Yeah, this is uninteresting. I heard that Inoue got different opinion for Slam Dunk anime, so they just ended before National Champs arc, biggest cliffhanger ever. I have no idea what you mean, but okay. Okay. AbyKero Comics, Tuesday, September 29th, 2009. This interview that we're reading now. By Deb Aoki. Takehiko Inoue, manga artist and the creator of Slam Dunk, arrived in New York City to paint a mural featuring characters from his other award-winning manga series, Vagabond. At just 40 years old, he was 40 in 2009. Bro, he still looks... MangaBrog, WordPress.com. I mean, I have that open too. I have that, yes, but this, it says part 2 somewhere. Yeah, I have this open too, but I thought of reading it later on because that was published in 2014 and we're starting now with 2009. But I have that open. Epi, don't worry. This one is a good compilation of small interviews. Yes, but it's gonna come later on. It's 2014. Now we're reading the one from 2019. But the man hasn't aged a lot if you look at pictures of him. At just 40 years old, Inoue-sensei is a manga creator whose artistry and masterful storytelling has won him countless awards and fans around the world. Inoue's mural painting event commemorated several events: the opening of the book's Kinokuniya Bryant Park store, and the late summer release of the 2 basketball manga series Slam Dunk and Real. Viz Media will also release Inoue's 2 art books, Sumi and Water, plus a new omnibus edition of Vagabond in September 2008. Dressed in low-key style in a soft black sweater and sneakers, Inoue-sensei was casual and friendly as he met and talked with several reporters. It's hard to explain, but as I watched him paint the finishing touches on his mural and mingle with well-wishers, he really did remind me of his manga characters. The street-smart athlete, the confident warrior, the wise, easygoing monk. We know which one they're talking about. I got a chance to chat with Inoue-sensei before he added the finishing touches on his mural, and we talked about his manga, his love for sports, and his relationship with his readers. Question. So when did you start working on this mural? Inoue. I started on Saturday. Question. What made you decide to do this mural? It's a very unique project. Inoue. Just because it seemed kind of interesting and fun to do. Okay. Question. We'll talk about the Vagabond, the characters that were painted for this mural in a bit, but I wanted to begin by talking about the series that was your first major success, Slam Dunk. Slam Dunk was first published in America in 2002 by AbyKero Comics. When they went out of business, Slam Dunk was in limbo for some time. What made you decide that to try again with Viz? The translation is kind of weird here too, but it's okay. Inoue. I thought it was a good idea to put it out again. Since Daijin had only put out 5 volumes, I thought it would make sense to put some space between that set of books before coming out with new editions. Question. Slam Dunk is a manga about basketball, and I noticed in your bio that you played basketball in high school. What attracted you to the sport, and why draw a manga about basketball in particular? Inoue. I joined the basketball club in high school. The situation for basketball in Japan is very different than it is in the United States as far as popularity. But I started playing because I wanted to be popular with the girls. So he's basically Sakuragi. As far as the manga, in Slam Dunk, I wanted to convey the feelings of winning and losing, how an athlete feels when they improve, get better at their sport. Question. Your sports manga has a lot of fast-paced, high adrenaline action. You really feel like you're there on the court with the athletes, and you can't help but get swept up in their emotions as they play. How do you capture the spirit of the game so well? Inoue. Basketball is one of my hobbies, so I'm always watching videos, reading magazines, looking at photos. But also, when I draw the manga, I'm drawing from my memories of playing, kind of like muscle memory. So I try to emphasize the little things that only a person who's played the game would know, like how it feels to hold the ball, how to shoot, and how to handle the ball. Aww. Question. One thing that people often mention about your storytelling is that you always include such great cliffhangers, that you pace your stories with a lot of compelling drama. Did that style of storytelling come naturally to you, or did you develop it over time? Inoue. I've never studied it, but when you draw a weekly a story that you draw week after week, at some point you develop the ability to do this. Question. Another thing people love about your stories is that your characters are so complex, so with 3-dimensional personalities. Are they based on people you know? Do you have a particular favorite character that's close to your heart? Inoue. A part of me is in each of my characters, so it's difficult to say that I have a particular favorite. Yeah, this is what I mean. Whenever you write a story and create characters, all of them have bits and pieces of yourself in them. Maybe the characters themselves are exaggerated versions of those bits and pieces from within you, but all of them are a part of you as you create the characters and you write a story. Which is maybe why I couldn't really vibe with Vagabond. Vagabond, because I don't think there was much of Inoue in there. But we're gonna find out when we read interviews. Maybe he's gonna say that he identified so well with the characters. But identifying with characters is another thing as creating characters from within you. Like, it's one thing when you have a character already and you relate to them. and creating an entirely new character from within you, and having that character be relatable to other people. It's a different thing. Question. My friend mentioned that she thought you looked like Takuan, the monk from Vagabond. Inoue, a lot of people tell me that, so I wasn't the only one who thought that. Question. You went from Slam Dunk and then went on to draw Vagabond and Real. While Vagabond still has a lot of action, there's also a theme about Musashi's spiritual evolution as a person, not just his sword fighting skills. Sorry about that. Not just his sword fighting skills. Is this change of emphasis a reflection on your personal evolution as well? Inoue? Yes, right. I wrote Slam Dunk when I was in my 20s. I had a simpler perspective on life when I was younger. At that time, my goals were more about winning and success. Now that I'm older, I know there is more to life than that. Question. All of your male characters from Slam Dunk, Real, and Vagabond are very masculine. What the fuck does that mean? And your stories are very much from a guy's perspective, for guys, primarily. Did it surprise you that your stories attract so many female fans as well? Yeah, because there is no such thing as the gender of a story. A story doesn't have a fucking gender. Or a sexuality that picks specific readers, like a preference for specific readers. Well, you're a guy now. Yeah, thank you, Yashwant. Did it surprise you that your stories attract so many female fans as well? It was 2009. People, I don't know, they weren't really normal back then. Okay, let's go back to the answer by Inoue. I've always had a lot of female fans from my work, so it wasn't too much of a surprise. Good answer. Good answer. Question, and this is the last question, thank fuck. Your manga did a lot to make basketball more popular in Japan. What is basketball like now in Japan compared to America? Inoue, right after the manga came out, middle school and high school basketball clubs in Japan saw an increase in membership. But there is not much change at the top level of the game. No significant pro leagues like there are in America. No standout superstar. I mean, it's an American sport, so the center of, you know, the established basketball culture is in Japan. In America. I think that the Basketball Association in Japan is perhaps not putting enough effort into promoting the sport in Japan. That's just my personal opinion as a fan. And that's it. That's the entire fucking interview. Let's go to... Oh, this one is from 2007. I should have read that one first. But... Okay, this is the same fucking interview. Take that one out. Okay, I'm gonna read this one from 2007. Now, it says part 2, but I couldn't find part 1. There really should be a master post out there with all the interviews that he's given. Okay, this is from 2007. Takehiko Inoue Interview, part 2. I really tried looking everywhere for part 1, but I couldn't find it. In the world of manga, Takehiko Inoue is a mega superstar. What the fuck does that mean? His basketball manga, Slam Dunk, was so successful it made the sport itself more popular in Japan. It sold over 100 million copies worldwide and has been voted the #1 all-time manga. Vagabond, telling the legend of swordsman Miyamoto Musashi, has also been a smash hit. It has even been listed among Japan's top taxpayers. What? 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 Okay. Mangaka of his level rarely come to America, and it's even more rare for them to do press with American outlets, or usually any press at all. Thus, when Inoue Sensei came to New York to paint a mural... Oh. So it's the same one. The one that I read earlier was from 2009, and this is from 2007, and called Part 2. So maybe it's Part 2 to the one from 2009? This one came out 2 years earlier. Let's just read. That's when Inoue Sensei came to New York to paint a mural for the new Kinokuniya books on 6th Avenue, and Viz made him available for interviews. It was a singular chance to talk to one of the world's most successful cartoonists. The opportunity was so unusual that The Beat decided to team up with PW Comics Week's Kai Ming Cha for a tag team interview. You can read the first part of the interview here. Okay, so I should have just read the fucking... Yeah, so it's no longer available. Okay. Yeah, it's no longer available. Good. That's why I couldn't find it. Oh my god. Yeah, it's no longer available. The occasion was also to announce the launch of a major initiative to publish Inoue's work here in the States. Slam Dunk will soon appear in tankobon format. Vagabond has finished its 25th book run, but will have a new omnibus edition next year, and Viz has announced an American edition for Real, a manga about wheelchair basketball players. Inoue's website even has a section in English where you can read his blog. His latest posting talks about his trip to New York. It says Takis. Yeah, these are not proofread. None of these interviews are proofread. Who the fuck published this? I just tried clicking on the link to his blog. Let's see what happens. Okay, my phone automatically translates everything to English, apparently. We don't want to read an auto translation of his blog. Anyway. And the complete run of Buzzer Beater, another basketball comic, is also online. The interview time was brief, and due to the constraints of translation, the interview itself is short, but Inoue Sensei was very engaged and engaging, and the entire event definitely opened doors, both ways. PWCW, that's the outlet asking the question. I'm just gonna say question. You've also done work for Shiseido Cosmetics. I had no idea. You did... Okay. Commercials where you paint large-scale pictures on huge swaths of paper. Can you talk about your development as an artist? How did you go from drawing for something so compact like a comic to something so large like the Shiseido commercials? Inoue? I'm an artist, so it's basically the same. It's all drawing. But when it's so large scale like in the Shiseido commercials, it's like a sport. I have to think, how do I move this brush to draw a straight line? It becomes more physical. Question. On your website, you have small thumbnails or works in progress. How do you think of your work? Oh, do you think of words and pictures at the same time? Inoue. I don't have one set way that I do things. Sometimes I might come up with the words first, or I might write a script out, and then the drawings come later, but sometimes an image will come to me and I'll draw that first. That was a very good question. I agree. Question. There is a very strong yanki. Yanki. Thug attitude in both Slam Dunk and Real. What is the importance of this attitude? Why do you like your characters to have that as part of their personalities? Good question again. Inoue, it's not like I was a bad boy like that when I was young. It's more like about being alone, not being part of the group. The down on your luck types, minorities, that type of character. So the first one that's about individualism, not collectivism. Okay. Episode found part 1. It just says that they met him and shows some photos and it got deleted. Yep. That's what I thought. Question. You lived in America for a year. Did you follow American comics at all? Inoue? No, I didn't read many American comics. Good. Question. What do you think of the acceptance of manga in America now? Your work is getting more popular here and the acceptance for manga is growing everywhere. Inoue, people are people everywhere and manga has something that is universal. Accordingly, I think manga will be a success in America too. And he was right. Question. Is it the storytelling that makes it universal or the artwork? What is the element? They're asking good questions, in my opinion. Inoue. The universal aspects are the feelings and the emotions the reader gets when they read the manga. Good answer. It's about how they enjoy the manga. It's not about the art or story. Yes, because messages are universal. Messages. You can portray messages with music. You can clothe them into art. You can dip them into words. But the message is universal. It doesn't matter how you consume it. It will still touch you and resonate within you. Question. How do you maintain your energy and interest and love for your characters? Inoue. I consider drawing manga a way of getting to know your characters. The more you draw it, the more you have an affinity with your character. Question. On your website, you also have Buzzer Beater posted in its entirety. Are you interested in webcomics at all? In Japan, I understand a lot of people are reading manga on cell phones now. That was in 2007. What the fuck? I mean, I understand now we have smartphones and we're reading them on our phones, but this was from 2007. The hell? I had a Motorola, I think, in 2007. Like the flip phone. Or was it still my Nokia? I have no idea. Time travel? Could be. Is that something you think about? Inoue? When Buzzer Beater came out, I considered it as something new. And that's why I did it. There weren't a lot of webcomics online at the time. It was about 10 years ago. 10 years online? Bro, the internet didn't even exist 10 years prior to 2007. I mean, it did. But it wasn't like anything we know today. Bro, this is from 2007, right? Ooh. As far as online manga or cell phone manga, I have my doubts about that. The act of reading a book is very different from looking at a monitor or looking at a cell phone screen. You have to be very specific in creating something like that. You have to understand the actual medium and specifically create towards that medium for something to be a success. Yeah. Inoue is a time traveler, yeah. Oh, One More Day was pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Question. What is next for you? You're so busy with many projects. What do you enjoy the most? And Inoue said, I try not to think about what's coming next. As for what I enjoy, I can't talk too much about it or give too many details, but next year, I'm going to do a small exhibit. Oh, we know that exhibition. It was the one from 2008 where it was even the end of Vagabond was in there in that exhibition. Like the art books of that exhibition you can find online and buy them. But yeah, we know that one. So he already teased it in 2007. Good. I'll be borrowing a gallery for 45 days and displaying new artwork in different sizes. I am very much looking forward to it, but I'm anxious about it as well. Everything will be new. It takes place from the end of May until the beginning of July in Japan. And that is it. Honestly, there's also another one about Inoue at Kinokuniya. No, that's nothing. Oops. Accidentally deleted the link. I mean, left the website. Okay. These two. And now we're reading the MangaBrog WordPress compilation of interviews. Takehiko Inoue. I like how this one in the picture up there is reading Akira. Just like my fufu that's reading Akira, my mascot. When it's reading a comic, it's holding Akira. Takehiko Inoue, the Vagabond hiatus interviews, and this is from 2014. In August 2010, Vagabond went on a hiatus because of creator Takehiko Inoue's physical health, but then remained on hiatus even after he recovered and continued working on his other ongoing series, Real. Vagabond remained untouched for over a year and a half, finally resuming in March 2012. With chapters on a monthly basis instead of the weekly or bi-weekly schedules the manga had been following before. The following is an abridged version of one interviewer's series of conversations with Inoue just before and then during that 19-month gap. Okay. Vagabond still is on hiatus? Yeah, we know. Now let's see if my headcanon is true, where I said he really enjoys basketball and creating manga, like out of his own inner drive to create, like put pieces of himself into a medium, and where he has already this experience, just like he described in that other interview. His basketball manga feels so real because he has put his own real experience into it. He said he can only depict things that the way that he depicted them because he himself knows what the feeling of the ball is like and standing on the court and so on. So that's why I think, you know, the stories that he creates by himself from scratch, Slam Dunk and Real, for example, is where he enjoys the work and that he's continuing to serialize. Whereas Vagabond, it's an adaptation. Let me see if my headcanon is real, where he was like, basketball gives me happiness. Now to mature, I'm gonna take Vagabond, this philosophical work. And then he was like bored to death and he was like, yeah, okay, this gave me some enlightenment, and the enlightenment is that I want to go back to balls. And then he went back to Real. In order to avoid going insane. Just like me. I'm just kidding, as I said, but I want to see if that headcanon is kind of, if it holds up a little bit, if we read the interviews, or if I'm completely off and he actually fucking enjoys drawing Vagabond, but he just doesn't have the physical strength to do it for some reason, but he has it for Real, which is about basketball, something he's actually passionate about. So, let's find out. Bro called the next basketball manga Real because that is what he really wanted to do in life. Yeah, Epi. Alright, April 2010, just after chapter 296, the last chapter in volume 33, ran in mourning. The part with Musashi staying at the carver's house and spending days carving out Buddhas really stuck with me. Inoue? I'd just gotten to talk with a real Buddhist sculptor at the time. I didn't use him as a model for the character or anything, but it made me think that a sculptor would make a great character to help Musashi reach some sort of realization. So for the things... Okay, so for the things that he couldn't organically put into the comic himself, because he has never experienced being a sculptor or a Buddha carver or a vagabond in the 1600s. He had to interview people who were in that type of niche in order to bring some authenticity into his work. There are countless sub-stories in Vagabond, like this one with the carver. Then you have Real, which is almost like a story given by a collection of sub-stories, while Slam Dunk doesn't seem to have many sub-stories at all. Inoue? It's true, you could say Slam Dunk had virtually no sub-stories. But with Vagabond, I don't think of any of the stories in there as sub-stories. I don't see it as divided between the duels as the main story and everything else as mere sub-stories. Vagabond is the journey of Musashi the person. With Slam Dunk, the match themselves were stories about life, but most people's lives aren't like that. Sure, sometimes Musashi goes through duel after duel, but it's not something he does every single day. Life consists more of time spent on inane things. Life is a series of moments of being stuck, unable to move forward. You meet people and interact with them. You worry, you get depressed, and they're all important stories, so I can't see them as divided into main stories and sub-stories. True. Slam Dunk was about basketball, so it was okay for it to just have match after match. But with Musashi, I can't have him do nothing but go around dueling people. He'd wind up dead in no time. Epi saying, Inoue drew the ending of the series and put it in an exhibition, so I think he got his closure with the series. Yeah. Yeah. That was the point, yeah. What was the ending? Bro, Hutch, just go to Wikipedia and read about Musashi and his life. You can't spoil yourself about a historical figure. Like, Vagabond was supposed to be an adaptation. You can read about the ending in any history book or, I don't know, Wikipedia. Just go read what the ending is. Asapiang, I love basketball, but I can't stand watching Kuroko no Basket. That's different. Don't watch Kuroko no Basket. Just go out and play basketball. It's better than that. Because there are superpowers in it. Exactly. It's not the same thing. And that kind of throws me off. Yeah, same. Kuroko no Basket is... Don't put it on the same level as Slam Dunk. Question. Is there any sort of shift that you're making now when drawing Vagabond? Like, have you made the move from pen to brush? Inoue, one shift is, and this is kind of a crude way to put it, but my style up until now has been to see my work as something to be done by myself alone, but lately I've been trying to use other people's ideas and create my work using them. I'm sharing the work, you could say. I've loosened that border I'd set up between me and other people in terms of work. The idea— oh, fucking hell. Where was I? I'm sharing the work, you could say. I've loosened that border I'd set up between me and other people in terms of work. The idea for the part with Kojiro and the... fucking hell, I get news flashes every fucking time. This one was about Elon Musk buying Twitter. I do not fucking care about Elon Musk. Wish he was dead. Anyway, for example, that was mean, but it's just I find him annoying. I don't wish anyone does. Kojiro on the bridge in Kokura, for example, came from some advice from my editor. It left me able... Are you telling me you didn't use your editor until then? Bro, what the fuck? How can you just work without an editor the entire time? Oh my god. It left me able to focus my effort on the actual execution and details. It was like I was able to look down from above and get a clear view of it all, when normally I'm too deep in the thick of things to be able to see things objectively like that. This is why you need an editor. And you're working with an adaptation, you need to have this objective view. It's not like it's the first time I've ever taken advice from an editor, but it has been pretty rare with Vagabond. Okay, I'm kind of surprised. What? So it was a real discovery for me with that chapter. Bro, how the fuck did you work without an editor so far? Like, properly, without an... What? He's just that good. No, I don't see that as, oh, I'm just so good at it. You need an editor when you're writing something like that. Everyone needs an editor when they're writing something professionally. Like, if you don't have an editor, you're gonna be really shit really soon. Because you can't see what others see. It's like when you make, for example, a review of some kind, or an essay of some kind. You need to have your sources of what other people say too, so you can come to your conclusions. And have other people's ideas put in your essay or review or whatever too, to give a complete picture of what is going on. You can't just give your own view because it is super limited. You have to do your own research, and then maybe you can... Yeah, but this research is included then. You can't just have something innately from within you. Let's say you write about the war in Ukraine. Bro, you need to do your research first. And use other experts on the field, and then you even quote them, hopefully. And when you write this article about the war in Ukraine, and you use multiple sources, so many sources, and you do such extensive research. You can't just be born, like be me, and be in Austria, and just hear about the war in Ukraine and write about your feelings on that. That is so useless. That's not how you do it. You need to... As a professional writer, especially mangaka, you need your editor. Like, they help you with research, they give you ideas, they are the ones that need you to... They're like your steering wheel, steering you into the right direction, because they know what is good writing, because that's what they study, right? They are the ones that know what is good, and what is popular, and what is desired from this medium, within the reading population. Like, they know what is effective. They know how to maximize the potential of everything, of the story, of the writer, of everything. They need to be the ones that lead you, like, that pull out the best of a writer. How the fuck did he do that without an editor? No wonder I was bored. Even Elda needs Epi to create thumbnails. Epi does everything. He does everything on this channel. I'm just the face of the channel. And the personality, I guess. But he does everything else. And I mean everything. Not just the thumbnails. But yeah, editors have their function. And you have to use them if you want to produce a good work. I don't know how he expected to publish something without ever using anyone else. The fact that he said, oh, now I'm using other people's, advice, and also my editor, and talking to other people. Bro, how the fuck were you writing before then? How can you just not talk to people or not get their input and not have an editor work with you and not listen to them? That's not good. I'm glad he started using other people properly in 2010. It was high time. Question. That scene where Kojiro plops into the water at the end and then all the men in Kokura start following him in and carried the boat with him and the kid in it, all of them cheering. It was so lively and dramatic that you could almost hear it, but I did actually find myself thinking that it didn't really seem like your usual style. Inoue? I think it's a good scene, but for me, it went a bit too far in playing on readers' expectations and pulling the rug out from under them. The reason I've always been afraid of taking other people's advice is that I've been worried that I'd end up betraying my readers' trust by doing one too many things that seem out of character for me. I believe that up until now, I've managed to maintain a kind of stylistic purity by doing the work all by myself, even if it meant the quality of the work might suffer for it. This is what I mean. But now I feel I'm ready to take advice from others and then turn it into something my own. Okay, so at least he's aware that if he does everything by himself, it's gonna be a very raw work, like not at all polished. But at least it's gonna be all naturally him. But with Vagabond, it's an adaptation. It's not naturally him anyway. Just the way he depicts the story is just him. Well, at least now he can use other people. Like, you always have to use other people, like, as reference or as research. Like, to have insight into something that you're not part of, to make something more authentic. And the more you talk to people, the more you have basically an entire inventory of things and attributes and shit that you can use in your story. It's always good to look at real life events, real life stories, histories, historical figures, real people out there. It's always good to talk to people and to be among people and to hear their perspectives. Like, I'm thinking there wouldn't be that many racists, homophobes, transphobes, whatever, any phobes. There wouldn't be that many if people just talked to them. In my opinion, like, it's one thing to imagine like an enemy of something that's trying to destroy your natural way of life that you've been used to. Like, it's an imaginary enemy that you're coloring by yourself through some, I don't know, news outlets and their coverage of a topic. But actually go talk to the people in question and you're gonna see how fucking normal they are. And all of your fears, phobia, all of your fears and all of your hatred should naturally dissipate. It's, yeah, I just think there would be much less hatred if people just talk to people. Anyway, and the same thing when you create a story. The best thing you can do is talk to people. The more you talk to people, the more material you have for your own stories. Every person is carrying an entire world with them. Get to know them. To create your own world. Anyway, yeah, Vagabond would have been a lot better if you had taken advice, Hudge. Yeah, I agreed. Doing everything by yourself limits you and you also get burnouts. Yeah. Elda on her way to Japan to assist Inoue on Real. No! Hudge, I feel like I'd be like Inoue though. I like doing things by myself. Just stubborn. Same. But at the same time, I'd always want to have feedback on whatever I create. And have advice on how to direct my story or my characters. especially from professionals, that would be so much better, like so helpful. Anyway, Epi saying, soon I'm gonna make a VTuber model and Elda AI voice bank and run the channel by myself. Do that, Epi. Then it's much less work for me. Why is it always his story? What about her story? Casabianca, oh my god. Anyway, let's continue reading the interview. The audience is the feedback for him, I guess. No. Because these magazines, for example, let's take Weekly Shonen Jump. When you publish a chapter, at the end of each jump, you have like a questionnaire, and readers can fill in how they would, like their own review on what they found good about the chapter and whatnot. So at the end of the week or Monday or whatever, they get these questionnaires for each story that was published there, and the editors go to their mangaka and tell them, look, your popularity is falling, and these are the reasons. And now let's change the story so that readers are gonna come back. But if he never even listened to his editor, it means that he never even listened to his readers. I can't explain to myself how he never listened to his editor, but did listen to his readers for feedback. I can't explain that to myself. I think Fujimoto also credits his assistants, editors deeply. Yeah, he even says without them, he couldn't do anything he has done. Yeah, because editors are super fucking important when you create something. Yes, Epi. I definitely, editors are a crucial part of the writing of a story. Him to just leave it out is very weird to me. It doesn't seem very professional to me. I'm not trying to throw shade, but I understand where he's coming from, that he just wants his pure creation, his poor creative mind to come through. But I don't know. If you're tackling stories from a professional point of view, you do need professionals to work on your story. You can never give a complete picture, a well-rounded, well-polished gem to a reader if you don't have outside perspective and outside influence. It's very weird to me. I can't relate, to be honest. I can't relate to not using it. I can't relate to, just wanting your innate drive to be completely materialized on paper. Yeah, okay. But I cannot relate to not using actual professional resources like editors and also talking to other people. Hodge saying, I swear if they cancel Ayashimon, I will flip. Can't believe they canceled Red Hood too. I have no idea what you're talking about. Sounds a bit of an ego. I don't know, Kasipyang. Let's continue reading it. Question. After rereading the entire series from volume 1, someone managed to read it and then read it again. Oh my god. After rereading the entire series from volume 1, I found that both the art and the story have loosened up and lost the stiffness of the earlier volumes. So maybe I should have stuck around with Vagabond. I can't. I really can't. I'm just too bored. Stiffness of the earlier volumes. It seemed like you were really under the influence of Eiji Yoshikawa novels that the manga is based on. Inoue saying, at first, yes. Okay, so maybe, yeah. Maybe this stiffness, him just being completely tied to this biographical interpretation of Musashi's life, that Eiji Yoshikawa wrote. Maybe that's why I couldn't really vibe with Vagabond, because it was just so... It didn't really feel genuine to me. Like, nothing felt genuine to me. At first, an answer by Inoue is... At first, yes. I hadn't really decided how much distance to put between Vagabond and the original novel, so part of me was playing it safe in order to keep from upsetting the novel's fans. It's true, though, I really did start off by sticking quite closely to the book. I was told that it was okay to go off and do my own thing, but that was hard at first, and I didn't really have any reason to diverge until I had the characters up and running away. I'm not really interested in telling a story, though. What I want to draw is what Musashi Miyamoto the man was like. I basically see what I'm going for as more like poetry than a story. It's just a fucking adaptation of a biography. I mean, it's an artistic adaptation of his biography. Okay. Question. You said something along the lines before, really, I'd be happy just drawing pictures, but then it wouldn't have a story and it wouldn't be a manga. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's why the exhibition happened. He was much happier with just drawing pictures of his life. Like, knowing his life and drawing pictures that were inspired by specific scenes of his life, instead of just writing a manga. So, okay. And Inoue answered, I like manga, and I choose it as a means of expressing myself because it's what I'm good at, I suppose. But while manga do inevitably take the form of stories, I don't think story is what I'm trying to do in my manga. I've never been especially good at making stories. In Slam Dunk, what I was drawing was basketball with some daily life stuff in between matches, and that's all. Now, maybe the result comes out as something that looks like a decent story, but I wasn't thinking about making a story at the time. All I was thinking about was putting a good basketball game into picture form and drawing some sweet plays. I think I just go along drawing things, and then it turns out, in the end, to be something like a story. Since starting Vagabond, there's been times where I've dared to dream of pulling off a story, but really, it hasn't turned out very different. Maybe the problem is that I've just never really tried to do story. You know how some people say that in order to be... I think, wasn't it Ishida Sui? Someone... Was it Justin? I think, someone in my Discord, I think it was Justin, a friend of mine, said that Ishida Sui, he's a really artistic person. He likes art, just art, and creating art. And that he was, at some point, really unhappy with creating manga, because it has, story and art combined. Maybe Inoue is the same. He just enjoys art. Like, taking something that inspires him and expressing it through a brush or pen. Maybe he doesn't really think like a mangaka. He thinks more like an artist and not like a mangaka. Maybe that's why, I don't know, Vagabond elopes my tastes. Because it doesn't really feel genuine, in my opinion. Like, it... I don't know how to explain it, but let's continue reading. Question. This isn't quite the same as what you're talking about when you're not telling a story, but being stuck is a common motive in Vagabond. Musashi is stuck and unable to move forward. We often see water in the manga, flowing freely, almost as a contrast. Is Musashi stagnant? Will he eventually break free and become clear? Is that what Musashi is searching for? This is what I find myself wondering. If you have an ending in mind, and it really is near, will we see something like that? Inoue? That depends how deep I'm able to immerse myself in Vagabond. If I reach a point where nothing else matters to me, maybe I'll be able to cruise right through to the end in one go. My only experience with hitting that groove as I work toward an ending is Slam Dunk. So it's hard to say if that'll happen with Vagabond too. Maybe it's too late and I've missed my chance to get into that zone. My headcanon is true. Oh no! He really doesn't enjoy working on Vagabond. He enjoys producing art more, and Slam Dunk worked for him because it was something he was passionate about. It was easy for him to put daily life scenarios into Vagabond that tied the matches together because he lived that. Whereas he's not really interested in Vagabond. He's not immersed in it at all. He said he was immersed in Slam Dunk because it was from personal experience that he was writing. So the story just naturally came to be somehow. Whereas with Vagabond, he's like, yeah, I just wish I could have that exhibition and fucking leave it alone. Just have pictures of his life. And that is it. I think that would, honestly, if he worked on Vagabond without putting it as a manga, just have silence, just pictures. And that you go through, like, I don't know, as you're turning the pages and it's just pictures and moods and emotions expressed. I think that would, I would read that. I would take that over Vagabond as it is. That would be something that I'm really interested in. Something very new, very refreshing. And that could probably touch me deeper than what I saw in Vagabond. 7 volumes of nothing to me. But yeah, yes, Justin said it to me while talking about Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, okay, thank you, Epi. So, he said it himself. He's not immersed enough in Vagabond to just work on it, give it an ending. Especially because he does know that it's a real person that already has its like the story is already laid out. He can't really do anything new with it. He can't put in more like artistic freedom into how he portrays something, but he himself said he wants to portray Musashi's life as it is, but in a poetic or artistic way. So manga doesn't really work for him. It's the medium of manga that's in the work in the way of completing Vagabond. He doesn't want Vagabond to exist as a manga. Maybe it's too late and I've missed my chance to get into that zone. Okay. Hodge saying when the passion isn't there anymore, it's basically over. Yeah, it is over. October 2010. After holding a manga exhibition and workshop in Sendai during the summer, Vagabond goes on hiatus due to problems with Inoue's health. Poor him. Mangaka actually have a lot of health issues because of the way they're working. I know Ishida Sui, he said that he went for a jog every day. That's good for his health. And a lot of mangaka just, because they're working under so much pressure and they're in a time crunch almost every fucking week, they can barely sleep enough, let alone eat enough and healthy, and do some physical exercise. Their mental health, because of the lack of contact outside of a professional setting, their mental health is suffering from that. Their physical health, it's I honestly feel really bad for comic artists who are just really busy and can't really work effectively because of how little free time they have. Like people always praise other people who are just giving their everything and just they're on the grind 24/7. They don't have any free time. Even in the free time, they're investing into their future by learning new stuff, and they're constantly working on themselves and constantly working on their career and their dreams. Bro, that is not effective living. You're not living. And you need to have downtimes in order to be effective in your job. I think a 4-day work week and 6 hours work day is the best you can have for workers to be effectively and productively working. You have the maximum of their potential that way. Giving them a 40-hour work week when overtime is not counted, but it does happen, that is just draining in so many ways. You can't really have a population that's happy, content, and productive that way. So, you really need free time in order to be able to have an effective professional life. So yeah. Yashwant is saying, drawing 20 pages with the deadline of a week sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, coming up with art that satisfies yourself is not something that can be done consistently like that. Yeah. Epi saying in Miura, small snippets, he often mentions how he missed entire seasons. I feel writer Murakami does it best. He said he set a goal and runs for 10 kilometers every day. Oh, that's a lot. But yeah, it's a shame. Like, these comic artists, they're missing out on life. They're ruining their own lives because of this weird work ethic and weird standard that is forced upon them by all these corporations and publishing houses, in this case, that are put on them. It's a shame. Like, you're not just losing a good story that can make you a lot of money, you're losing an entire person. It's a loss for the person himself and a loss for the publishing house because they can't make money that way when they lose an entire writer. I don't know, I would change the shit. I would change it. Vagabond goes on hiatus due to problems with Inoue's health. Inoue undergoes a physical checkup, but is told that there is nothing medically wrong with him. Question: are you not suffering from any symptoms anymore? Inoue: as long as I don't do any work, no. So his work makes him sick. It's... even when you're passionate about something, as soon as you make it your work and you have a whole different set of expectations put on you than when you just do it in your free time and for passion's sake. When you do it for your career, a whole nother set of expectations, a whole nother ethic you have to put into that, and that can fuck with you. You can start to hate this hobby because it's your work now. But yeah, as long as I don't do any work, no. Lass. With the exhibition over and Vagabond on hiatus, I've been sleeping well lately, so my stress levels are way down. I don't smoke or drink, and I watch what I eat, so if it weren't for the repeated all-nighters I pull for work, I should be leading a pretty healthy lifestyle. See, this is what I mean. I was getting these headaches and I couldn't concentrate. Hard to say if it was caused by work or by not wanting to do work. This is what I mean. Like, you have all these things that are in the way of Vagabond being completed. It's something that's within Inoue, that he just doesn't want it to be in a manga format. And that he's just an artist, a pure artist. I'm not really interested in manga, in being a mangaka. That's the feeling that I get from what we've read here. And the fact that this entire lifestyle as a mangaka is really not good for him. There's something intrinsic and extrinsic that's working against the completion of Vagabond. I don't think we're ever gonna see a completion of Vagabond. I mean, I personally don't care because I dropped Vagabond. But anyway, this is what I mean when I say nothing in Vagabond felt genuine to me. It felt like a drag. Which is why I wanted to read Slam Dunk, because I knew it was something that had purely Inoue in it. Not just because Vagabond was an adaptation and it didn't have purely Inoue in it, but also because... Yeah, anyway, let's continue. And the question is, but you must feel the desire to draw manga though, right? Vagabond in particular. Oh man, it feels like the interviewer can't read the room. It's really having an image projecting onto Inoue. Maybe I'm the one that's projecting, but let's see what Inoue says to that question. Inoue, I'd reached a point where I wasn't even sure of that. God damn. So I was right from the very beginning. Like, maybe I just have like a sixth sense in when I read manga. And I'm like, this is not it. This is not you. I'm not gonna read this because you're not in it. You, mangaka, I don't feel you. So, how many basketballs were mentioned so far? At least 15. Wait. Hodge saying it reminded me of that guy who's making that anime completely hand-drawn and has been doing for like 40 years. His entire life has been consumed by that anime. It's not an anime! It's not an anime. Anime is just... Oh no. Not an anime, Hodge. I forgot his name, but Gabriel Akakitsugami, he showed me the creator. He's a Russian. And the work he's working on is like the... What's it called again? The Overcoat. Yes. The Overcoat is that one. And the name was German-sounding, Jewish. Forgot. He also make Skaska Skazok with his wife. Him and his wife, they're working on that Overcoat for 40 years. But yeah. It's like that. But for him, when you've seen interviews with him, I forgot his name. I want to look it up now because we're talking about him. It's a good comparison, in my opinion. Skazok. Tale of Tales is the Russian. Soviet Russian by Yuri Norstein, yes. Yuri and his wife. I don't know why she isn't mentioned here. Because she is responsible for all the hand drawings. He's the director, right? He himself said, because they lost funding, for example, and in order to fund this project, they had to take on other projects, which again prolonged the entire production of the Overcoat. And at some point, like, people just, because he was super Norstein, he was really, he is still really famous and acclaimed. And people wanted to fund him, like they wanted to sponsor him, they wanted to give him money in order to produce it more quickly so that they can finish it. They're like in their 80s now, 70s or 80s now. And he himself said he doesn't know if it's ever going to be completed. It's like halfway there. And he said no, because this Overcoat production was just made through my suffering. And this type of project needs to continue to be produced out of suffering. So he is basically inhibiting himself. He's thinking like an artist. Like, artists are like psychopaths. You can't really see through. They all have their own way of looking at things, their own outlook on their material. you can't really foretell what's happening there. Whereas other types of creators, they're more systematic, they're more organized. Wasn't it George R.R. Martin who said, like, there are architects and there are gardeners? Like these types of writers or creators. And I think the gardeners are more like the artistic people who just have this mentality that you can't really see through because you don't see it as effective by not taking any financial help in order to produce that work that you say is like coming from within you, and it's the pure soul just put into that work. You don't see that as effective, but with their logic, it wouldn't be authentic if they didn't keep doing it the way they're doing it. And the architects are those that are structured and see what is good in creating and constructing a story. People who construct a story by seeing what works best, what would be poetic in this part, what would be really romantic, what would work here effectively, what would make the story stand out even more in this and that way. They're the ones that put a lot of thought into structuring the story effectively and bringing it forth effectively. Whereas gardeners are more like just a free spirit. And yeah. I guess, wait, hold on. Oh yeah, okay, Epi said Yuri Norstein and Francesca Yarbusova, yeah. They started in 1980. It was called The Overcoat. Yes, a small 30-second clip took an entire year, yeah. It's crazy, man. He's married to, and supposedly his wife hates it. He just draws that anime. No, he doesn't draw it. His wife draws it, and he's forcing her. But it's not that she hates it. It's like their marriage has suffered a lot. They even have children. Like, of course, a lot of your private life suffers when it's consumed by something like in your professional life. Yashwan saying, damn, you should be an editor. I honestly wish I was. Maybe just creating stories is not my thing, but maybe I could be an editor, yeah. I'm just saying stuff. Probably couldn't be anything. The film still remains unfinished. It's so sad. Yes. If you want to learn about that project, check this video. Yes, thank you for the link, Epi. Damn, Yuri sounds like he believes in the belief in suffering. Yeah. Yashwan saying, but stories made by architects tend to be tropey and a little boring, honestly. That's not true. That's not... Look, I would say that Chainsaw Man, Fujimoto, is an architect. It's completely thought through. Everything has its place and its purpose, and it's portrayed in an like without wasting any time, without wasting any panels, without anything. Everything has its purpose the way it is there. It's perfectly constructed. Everything is just thought through. And his editor worked with him there too, as he also said he thanks his editors for that. It's a construction. An architect isn't someone who just puts Lego blocks onto something and makes it like a square thing. No, an architect does have a free will and imagination when they do that, but the way that they construct the story is for specific effects, what would bring beauty and satisfaction to them and to readers. You know, a story for beauty's sake, for example. Whereas architects, they have something innate that you can't bring them off of this path. And they're like, they are exploring their story while they're writing it. While they're creating it, they're exploring it, and they're letting it, I don't know, take its own life. And they're, as much as they're also writing their story, they're observing their own story take place too. they're getting to know the story as they're writing it too. And that's the difference. I think Inoue would fall into the gardener type of category, perhaps. Because he seems like a pure, like, he just wants to create art through impressions. He wants to have impressions, make impressions, and that is it. He doesn't necessarily want to write a story. He just wants to make something organic that's from within him, or something that inspires him, and put it, like, make it materialize through art, but just in an impressionist way. I don't know how to describe it. And yeah, this is why I didn't really vibe with Vagabond. And yeah, as Epi said, just want to drop about Isayama. He was crushed by the negativity surrounding his finale as well, but his editor made him feel better and more positive about it. And Attack on Titan is another example. It's not full of tropes or anything and cliche. It's not boring at all, but it was planned from the very beginning. 10 years ago, the story started, like, the ending was already conceived. Like, every part of the story was perfectly planned in case of Isayama and Attack on Titan. So this is what I mean. The highest highs are reached by gardeners? Absolutely not. But architects are the most consistent, in my opinion. Yeah, I disagree. Like, both have their merits. Like, if you just wanna, let's say you take, Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and that's a gardener's product. If you are really interested into what's going on through someone's mind, and you want to find it out through their creation, then yes, through the Evangelion series, you find out more about the man behind the series. And the series can be something really impactful. It can change the medium. It can change the world in some way, right? But a really well constructed story you can just have the story be the impactful thing without caring about the author, right? Maybe you want to know, wow, how did they conceive of such a story? But you're not really interested in seeing the psyche or the emotional turmoil within the creator as they created that piece. You're just interested in the story. So it depends on what you're going for. Gardeners, like, or another book that I've heard that does that well, Ulysses. It's like a 1,000-page book of just a man going home from somewhere, a pub or something, and reminiscing about his life. Yeah, you can read that too. And you have the entire psyche, like the entire musings of life and existential piece. You can read that too, yes. That's a gardener. But having an architect can create just as much greatness as a gardener. Sometimes gardeners, it's just like when you do some doodles to get rid of something, but the doodle is really not ready to be, seen as a piece of art by anyone. So sometimes whatever you get rid of, like in your diary, it's not worth being published. Like, yeah, okay, it's good that you got rid of what's inside of you, but like it's not publishable. So it really depends on what you do, what type of garden comes from this seed that you're sowing. Yeah, anyway, so I completely disagree that gardeners reach new heights and architects are, consistent or whatever. No. Both can achieve greatness and both can fail. Isayama had a simple story in his head. His editor always asked him right questions, which made him explore his world more. Yeah. Yeah, even if I don't like the ending, I don't think Isayama deserves the hate. Yeah, agreed. Okay, let's continue the interview. Sorry with the entire rant within the interview. I'm just saying that this interviewer is trying to project, and Inoue is giving exactly the answers that I already felt from him. As I said in my unhinged rant, in my last Vagabond stream where I dropped it, where I said, yo, I think Inoue doesn't like Vagabond and that's why he dropped it. And I don't like it because he doesn't like it and I feel that he doesn't like it or whatever. Let's continue reading now. Inoue, I'd reached a point where I wasn't even sure of that. Concerning the question, but you must feel the desire to draw manga though, right? Vagabond in particular. I reached a point where I wasn't even sure of that. I became unsure of where I was heading, couldn't even remember where I'd started from in the first place. That's how busy I was. I was stuck doing the work for external factors for so long that I'd forgotten to look inside myself. Amen. So, next question. With the manga exhibitions like the one you just finished in Sendai, you can literally take a step back and actually see the defined boundaries, from the entrance to the exit. A manga series, on the other hand, is a story of endless journey with no exit in sight. No, not necessarily. Is that stressful for you? And Inoue said, I'd say it's just the opposite, actually. Yeah, okay, so we disagree in the same thing. I'd say it's just the opposite, actually. The problem is that I started thinking too much about the ending. I went around talking about how I'd end it this year, even wrote it on my blog. That was the problem, I think. The exhaustion from the exhibit was part of it too, though, but, you know, I still don't really have an answer for what it is. It's an accumulation of multiple things. Next question. Do you have at least some sort of vague idea for when you'll return to Vagabond? Really desperate, huh? And Inoue said, well, speaking in terms of what I want to do, as I said before, I really don't at all have the urge to work on it right now. I really feel for Inoue, I really do. I like the guy, I really like the guy. So I feel for him, yeah. Anyway, urge to work on it right now, but I do know that if I don't work on it, I'll be in trouble down the road. And that's basically what keeps me going up until I went on hiatus. So he's basically just pressuring himself. He's like, I fucking hate this, I want to stop, but if I don't continue, I'm gonna be in fucking trouble. Yeah, so, that's not really motivational, huh? Oh man, Inoue, I feel you. I don't think that's a good way of going about it. My hope is to stay away from Vagabond. My hope is to stay away from Vagabond until all those unnecessary worries and emotions are gone and I'm ready to draw it because I want to draw it. I'm not sure if I'll be allowed to wait that long, though. Tragic. Absolutely tragic. That he's forced to continue it, even though he doesn't want to. Like, he's forcing himself to not disappoint fans. Because when he's already started, well, he has to finish it, right? That's what you call success in something, when you start it and you finish it. Only then it is a success. That's what's keeping him chained to Vagabond, and he doesn't like it. I see this hiatus as sort of a death for myself as an artist, which sounds like a pretty dramatic way to put it, I realize, but there's so much baggage that I've been dragging along for so long, and I know I'll become a much better artist if I shed all of that. After I return to the state of innocence, the manga I make will be several times better than what I'm capable of now, I'm sure of it. If I prematurely go back to working on it before that, I'll just end up going through this all over again. I mean, I'd managed to churn out something decent, I suppose, surely out of a sense of professional duty, but it probably wouldn't be anything outstanding. Although, really, the fact that I'm still talking about making it something outstanding is itself a sign that I'm still carrying that baggage around. Anyway, I'm not touching Vagabond for now, because I think that's what I need to be able to eventually produce something that feels right to me. Fucking amen. Didn't I say so? Didn't I fucking say so? I mean, I said it in a really, I mean, I was going for humor, so let's say humorous way and exaggerated shitposty way. But in essence, it's what I said. Maybe I'm the true Vagabond fan, and you're all posers. Maybe I'm the true Inoue connoisseur. Maybe I'm the one that's right. When I dropped Vagabond. Maybe I was following Inoue's spirit when I dropped it. And you all who continue reading it, continue hoping for hiatuses to finish, and for Inoue to keep working on it. Maybe you're the ones that are destroying Inoue. Maybe you're the ones that do not understand the spirit behind Vagabond. And I am the true sage. I am the true enlightened one. 'Cause I saw through that bullshit from the very beginning. Think about it. I am the real Vagabond fan. And you should have noticed that. Oh, I'm gonna. Oh! Wow, my kidney cramped up. I need to really pee. Let's take a break. Epi, please roll the ads. I need to go and take a leak. I'll be back in a minute. Oh, kidney cramping up for. Oh, shit. I'm back. Epi saying, after Jujutsu Kaisen, Elda will never need to read interviews because the author is talking after every 20 pages. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Okay. Ads are done. Elda is gonna bully the Facebook group, isn't she? Okay. Continuing the interview. So yeah, basically, I'm the only true Vagabond fan. I'm the only one who understands Vagabond and Inoue. And you're all the ones that are basically demons trying to chain Inoue down to Vagabond, a work that he hates, that is crushing his soul. And you're all here to help crush Inoue's soul. I'm the true fan. By dropping Vagabond and saying, "Be free, my child. Be free, Inoue. Do what you want. Do not do this. I am setting you free." By dropping Vagabond. Okay. Okay, December 2010, Vagabond remains on hiatus, though Inoue continues to work on Real. Question: how are you feeling these days? Inoue: I'm okay now, I think. I haven't gotten myself checked since the summer, but my workload's gone way down thanks to the hiatus, so I'm feeling better. My headaches have gone away, which is the most important thing. I have occasional pains in my back, but maybe that's just because I'm getting older. In any case, I'm not that swamped with work anymore. Once I get Real out of the way, I'm done with work for the year, which feels just great. Question: still no idea when you'll be returning to Vagabond? These people really want to keep crushing Inoue, huh? They really enjoy seeing Inoue suffer. They're really sadists. And want to keep torturing Inoue to churn out more Vagabond volumes. For their own pleasure. Even though it's just blood, sweat, and tears of Inoue's as he hates this work and produces it with just pain and suffering. Okay, let's go away from the drama now, but still no idea when you'll be returning to Vagabond? Please, Daddy, no Vagabond? Inoue, nothing's been decided, haven't even been thinking about it, talking about it. Remind me again what I told you in our last interview. Oh! 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 That was cold! That was cold! Oh my god! Bro, Inoue! Yeah, he's speaking, like, he's just saying what I've been saying all this time. I'm annoyed, and then the next thing I read is him being annoyed and sassy towards the interviewer. Ooh! It feels so good. Nothing's been decided, haven't even been talking about it. Remind me again what I told you in our last interview. Damn, Inoue! Anyway, next question. You were laughing 2 months ago about how your editor at Morning has stopped emailing you about it. Inoue, right, I told my editor that I still didn't want to set any dates for it, and wait, no, I was asking if it would possibly be okay to not serialize it in a magazine. Like, do we really still have to maintain the weekly magazine serialization method we're doing now? Or, I didn't say this, but I was thinking, could I maybe run it in a different magazine, something that isn't weekly? Morning is a major magazine, and it's an honor to have my manga run in it, but I can't produce chapters regularly right now, so you couldn't really call it a proper serialization. I asked my editor if he was really okay with all of that. Question. And what did he say? Inoue, he wanted Vagabond running in Morning, in whatever form they can get it. Can't really complain about that. No, we need money. We need money. We need you here, Inoue. You gotta stay here with us. We gotta make money. Can't really complain about that. I understand. You wanna keep making money. Yeah. And you're relying on me for that. Yep. Sorry you couldn't feed your children these past 4 years. Can't really complain about that. Question. So you are going to return to Vagabond eventually though, right? Oh man! Oh man, these poor, desperate souls that just really want more Vagabond. They do not care about Inoue. Just get over it, Inoue. Keep writing Vagabond for us. Holy shit, man, take a hint. Yeah, right, Kasapiank, yeah. It'd be saying your headcanon getting real with every word you're saying. Continuing. So you are going to return to Vagabond eventually though, right? And you know what? Well, eventually, yes. Question. Do you ever think about what you'd like to do differently? And when, you see, when they're talking about Vagabond, like the questions are, yes, eventually. Okay, can't complain about that. It's like really short answers. To each question, it's a really short answer, but when they're talking about what do you want to do differently, or what's your creative process, or something like that's about him and what he feels, then the answers are like paragraphs. So, do you ever think about what you'd like to do differently? And now a paragraph is following. Inoue? I'm not doing any planning for Vagabond at all right now, but I have wanted to change something about it for a long time. I just can't do that whole 20 pages every week thing anymore. If I go back to that, the same thing will happen again and I'll be causing problems for everyone. So I've decided that I've finished with that method. What I think I can do is draw for a while and then release it when I've gotten a certain amount finished, as vague as that sounds. Next question. Do you rarely think about Vagabond these days? I think that's haunting him, because it's just the pressure. He started it and he has to finish it and people are waiting for it and entire magazines are waiting for the income that Vagabond produces. So I think this is still haunting him, even when he's like trying to relax. Probably haunting him, but like it's in the back of his mind. When he's not working it, he's like trying to fucking breathe. And just enjoying the moment. Let's see what he says. Do you really think about Vagabond these days? Inoue? Ideas pop up in my head every once in a while. That Vagabond creative part of my brain hasn't totally shut off. I'll see something. It could be anything, like a tree or a bird, and something will come to me. What if X happened to Kojiro and then Musashi would think Y, and so on and so forth. But even when these thoughts pop up, I don't write them down or anything. Next question. You've distanced yourself from it, I see. Is there anything that's piqued your interest recently instead? Inoue? The first thing I did when the hiatus became official was go to a gym and get a membership. I haven't gone since then, though. You're just paying them for nothing. How about books or movies? Inoue? I haven't seen any movies lately. What have I been doing? I suppose I've been doing some reading, or at least I've been buying a lot of books anyway. I've got a lot of books piled up that I plan on reading eventually. Fuck, he's like me. I have an entire shelf, and I still haven't read any books from there. Next question. Have you been reading manga at all lately? Anything at all? You know what? Nope, I'm afraid not. Next question. You're still continuing to work on Real. And now an entire paragraph follows again. You know what? Yes, I haven't become totally disconnected from society just yet. I always think that's the incredible thing about Real. I can draw it under any circumstances. And that's what you call a passion project. That's what's from within you, trying to break free. You know how I said in one of my unhinged rants, I think, or in the comments of that rant, that because I came off of Hermann Hesse, no books or like German literature from the 1850s until the 1930s, since I've come off of that, not really any books or any manga can really touch me in a philosophical way, right? When it comes to thinking about life and purpose and so on. And Hermann Hesse said something in Siddhartha as well as in Damien. He said that at some point you stop looking for the teachings of other people and you start listening to the teachings calling from within your own blood. You start listening to your own blood from the calling from within, listening to the calling from within. And that's, I think, what makes people, for example, that would make me not see any worth in Vagabond anymore. But even in Hermann Hesse books, like, of course, I tried reading Siddhartha again, and I managed halfway through until I stopped again, because while I was enjoying Siddhartha again now after 5 years of reading it the first time, the language is beautiful and I enjoy it. But the content itself cannot give me anything anymore. Not like 5 years ago, where it really struck something inside of me. It really touched me in a fundamental way. And now, I can't gain anything from it anymore in a philosophical way, right? Because I'm already full. I'm now listening to the teachings from within me. Which is also when people tell me, oh, you should look at this review of this manga and their thoughts and interpretations. I used to do that before, but now I don't have that in me anymore. I like to do it from myself, from within myself. If that makes any sense. I don't need to listen to other people anymore and their experiences. I mean, their experiences with the same thing, with the same medium, with the same thing that we're consuming. I'm just doing everything by myself. All the interpretations, all the theories, everything that I rant about in my streams, they're all coming from within me. Like, it's all something that I think about when I consume what I'm consuming. And I think with Inoue, he's the same. He needs to create something that comes from within him, that's calling out from within him, which is why he says he can draw real under any circumstances. It's because he's listening to the calling from within him, like Hermann Hesse described it. Whereas Vagabond is, listening to Musashi's callings, Musashi's teachings and his life. And then the biography interpretation by, I forgot the author again, who wrote the novel that Vagabond is based on. So, and especially because he's a really an artist in spirit, like through and through, he's an artist. He just, I think he can only work from that point on, like from that base, listening to himself and from to what is within him and wants to be born. Which is why real is easy to give birth to, because it's already within him, whereas Vagabond is not. So, which is also why I couldn't take anything away from Vagabond anymore. Had I read it 5 years ago, it could have been a different case. Maybe I could have been so attached to Vagabond, like all the other fans that I see of Vagabond. Maybe I could have been so attached. As I said, 5 years ago, I was hanging on to every word of Hermann Hesse's. Now, when I reread his work, it doesn't give me the same effect anymore. And it's a good thing. It's what Hermann Hesse was talking about in his books too. When you stop listening to the teachings of others and start listening to your own blood from the calling to the calling from within. So I don't think it's a bad thing that you can't win anything anymore from someone's philosophical work. It's because you yourself are starting to take your own steps into the own direction, like into the right direction towards yourself. I think even in Damien it is said that every person throughout their life is just becoming. Their entire life is just becoming themselves. And this path towards yourself, it can be really rough, really hard, really long. And some people never become themselves when they die. And someone who is truly himself, oh my god, these fucking news flashes. I hate this, and I get two at the same time. Where was I? I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Elda, you're about in Twitch, need an update. Oh yeah. I need to update the description in Twitch. Yeah, for the cements that we're here for the rants, and Hutch saying, I'm the same, I can't create a story if it doesn't come from 100% within me. I'd feel like I was copying otherwise. Yeah. So, I don't think it's a bad thing that, for example, I can't win anything from Vagabond. Like, I can't take anything worthwhile from Vagabond. Inoue can't take anything worthwhile from Vagabond. It's not a bad thing. It just means that I'm past that stage where other people's teachings and stories could affect me that much, like teachings about their own lives. Of course, now I still listen to people because, as I described with the editor part, when you get to know people, you get to know entire worlds. And that automatically enriches your own world, too. But I'm not trying to come to the same conclusions as these other people have come towards their own lives, because they came to the conclusions to their lives. I have my own life. I need to come to my own conclusions. And I have. So, as I said, had I read Vagabond at the age of 20 or something, yeah, maybe I could have been a huge-ass Vagabond fan. Like, not the fan that I am now, like the true Inoue connoisseur, but like the Vagabond fan that's like hanging on to every page of Vagabond and wants it to continue. So yeah, the timing was just bad. I'm just too much of an adult now. At the age of 26, what can I say? Anyway, continuing with the interview. Real, I can draw it under any circumstances. Now, part of that is the help I get from the editor who works with me on it. All the research he does, the way he knows just how to get me motivated, etc. This is what editors are for. But while Real and Vagabond are both manga, I see Real more as something that I do professionally as a professional manga artist. If Vagabond is an attempt to escape from being fenced in by what a manga is supposed to be, then Real is me working within that frame. Question, what do you suppose will happen if you continue to not work on Vagabond for another year or two? This interview is really desperate. Inoue, I've gone on hiatus before, and when I eventually came back to the series, I found that Musashi seemed quite different. After a long break, not only does the artist change on the inside, but the pictures came out different too. It'd be pretty incredible in a way if Musashi came back looking like Tensai Bakabon. Who the fuck is that? God bless the interviewer. Yeah. Jesus, what is this interviewer? Stop it. He's just asking the questions that the fans want to ask. He's just the voice of the fans. Don't be so harsh on the fans of Vagabond. Now, next interview, September 2011. The question is, how'd you spend your summer? Inoue, I got a new editor for Vagabond. We've been meeting once a month to talk about things. The pressure inside me is steadily building. He's starting to die inside. Pressure? Inoue, I'm starting to have things I want to draw build up inside me again. Here and there, I've been getting glimpses of that urge to draw. I still can't promise anything yet, though, so my editor is no doubt facing a lot of pressure from the editor-in-chief and the management people who want to know what's going on. He handles that stuff by himself, though. He doesn't tell me about any of it. He says we'll return to the series whenever I'm ready to. What a good guy. Next question. You've gone on hiatus a few times before. How did it work for you then, Inoue? There was a period after the Kojiro arc between volumes 20 and 21 that was a really rough time for me, so I set the series aside for about a year. The urge really built up inside me during that time, so I remember really enjoying the work when I started doing volume 21. It even came through in the art. The characters' faces changed a lot because all that pent-up urge to draw made me extra attentive to every little detail when I got back to work. It really does show on the page when you come back to a manga after a break. So in that sense, I don't think going on hiatus is all bad. It's good! You need that mental fucking break, as I said. You need the break. So you can be productive in your professional area of life. See? The calling from within you will take you back there anyway. Like, as I said, a passion can turn into something that you hate if the work circumstances are just not right and just start making you hate your own hobby. When you take the stress of work away, you can start seeing it as your hobby, as your passion again, and have an easier time with it. Tensei Vagabond is a stupid comic still children anime. Okay, for Western reference, imagine Inoue saying Musashi looking like Beavis and Butthead or some Adult Swim cartoon. I've never heard of that. Kasapiang said, also Real is more depressing than Slam Dunk, and I'm still preparing my mental state before I read it. Yeah, okay. Next question. Vagabond is still on hiatus and you're still keeping it up with Real. Are the two series so different from each other? These people do not listen. They don't listen. He just said what the difference is. He just said it. Like in this question before. Okay, now that was in a different month. But he said it. That Real, he can't draw under any circumstance. It's just manga. Whereas with Vagabond, he wants to make art with it. And he needs to wait for the artist inside him to be ready to produce that art. He needs an impression to build up so he can impress this impression onto other people. How do these people not listen? Yashwan saying, I'm not letting you out until you specify when Vagabond is coming out. The interviewer probably, yeah, it seems that way. They're really not listening to Inoue, are they? Vagabond is still on hiatus and you're still keeping up with Real. Are the two series so different from each other? Yeah, fucking yes! Do you not listen? Listen to the man. Inoue, totally different. With Real, I almost never worry about trying to do something completely original or express things stylishly. Or at least I don't in terms of the artwork anyway. Vagabond is where I try to do new things with the art and draw the best that I can, so in that sense, drawing it is pure enjoyment, whereas Real is me drawing squarely within my normal capabilities. It's like I've got two different modes. And Muhammad Ali saying, yo, people need to accept Vagabond ain't coming back. Agreed. And hello. Nice to see you. Next question. There are elements about Real that you don't know about personally, having to use a wheelchair, for example, but overall it's a lot more grounded in reality than Vagabond. And Inoue saying, obviously I haven't experienced it firsthand, so I'm very diligent about doing the research behind Real, which is completely different from making Vagabond. With Real, you could say it really is a matter of assembly in a way. I take the materials in front of me and put them together. The process is almost like cooking. With Real, Vagabond is something more personal. There's no formula. Whereas so this is different from what I thought. I thought Real is more, the calling from within. But maybe we're just using different terminology, but we mean the same thing. So with Real, his architect is kind of coming out, even though he doesn't plan from within anyway. And with Vagabond, he wants to make the artist within him satisfied. Although it's actually, it can't stray too much, because Musashi is a real person, so it can't stray too much. I think, like, the philosophy is kind of the same, but we're using different terminology, if it makes any sense. Different words to express the same thought, if that makes any sense. Anyway, let's read. The process is almost like cooking with Real. Vagabond is something more personal. There's no formula. It feels like I'm making something that's not quite manga. Yeah, okay, so it is what I thought. Vagabond is almost like something like running around a mountain or swimming in a river, in that there are no rules, but I have to use everything I have in me in every situation, which is also what's so exhausting about it. I've been putting a ton of effort into the whole manga process for Real lately, and I've rediscovered a joy in it that Vagabond never gave me, the joy of manga and being a professional manga artist. Good. He's using the passion of basketball to draw a manga and finding the joy in manga again, whereas Vagabond is purely an artistic liberation piece for him. Which is ironic because Real has his entire creativity in it, because he can choose what to write and who to include and whatever. Whereas with Vagabond, he can't stray too far from the material, like from someone else's life. It's a pain that he imposed on himself, choosing the artistic freedom and expression and evolution to put that on Vagabond, that is actually supposed to follow the real life of a real person. So where you can't really stray and have that much liberty in it. It's a juxtaposition that he would put that drive onto Vagabond and not that drive onto Real. Or any other manga, if you can just draw for art's sake. But, yeah, anyway. Yashwan saying, yeah, he should have made an art book based on Musashi. Agreed, yes, that would have fulfilled him more, I think. But maybe he needs the challenge, just like Yuri Norstein needs the challenge, the suffering, in order to produce the Overcoat. Inoue is forcing himself to suffer with Vagabond, to have these constraints of a biography, but also having the artist that wants to just make art and not a manga, but also forcing himself to make it work within the manga medium. So forcing himself to be something, like to make the artist come through in the manga medium in some way, shape, or form. Maybe this is what real artists are like. Like, they force themselves into a type of suffering that usually, as an outsider, you'd say, just don't fucking do it. Like, if you can't deal with it, they're like, no, it's because I can't do it that I need to do it. I need to overcome this. I need to do this in order to grow as an artist, to become myself. I need this hurdle. It is me. And that's what true artists are, I suppose. Yeah, he should have made an art book based on Musashi, like drawing all the major moments in the story instead of a manga. Yeah. And Epi saying, it feels like the magazine paid the interview to get a solid statement and ask him when is he dropping next Vagabond chapter. Yeah. The joy of manga and being a professional manga artist. It must be how everyone else feels when they're drawing manga. For example, up until now, I'd been drawing in order, starting at the start of the chapter and ending at the end, thinking it up as I go. Hardly ever used to go back and cut and paste or redraw things. With this latest chapter, though, I tried a new method where I draw a bunch of scenes and then rearrange them around. Next question. Like when shooting a film, you don't know which scene you're going to shoot first. depending on the budget and the weather and the actor schedules, you might end up shooting the final scene first. And Inoue saying, you can't just shoot it in order, yeah. So this time I similarly tried playing around with things. Like, what if I move this panel over there and move that one over here, etc. Of course, there were circumstances that made it so I sort of had to do it that way this time, but having tried it, I thought it was pretty fun. I've tried doing it that way before, but I'd sort of forgotten about how fun it is, I guess. Next question. Getting off topic for a minute, did you see Terrence Malick's Tree of Life this summer? That is really off topic. Inoue saying, yeah, I did. I knew I couldn't miss that one. Saw it just recently, actually. It really is a hell of a film. It reminded me a bit of 2001: A Space Odyssey. They technically take the form of a movie, but both really escape from that mold, I think. Watching it, you wonder how, just how far they're going to take it. Like, how did they manage to get the go-ahead from the producers? The film has really stuck with me. Another comic that breaks the mold of comics, like, it doesn't read like a comic at all. It is one, but it doesn't really read like one from the structure and how it is made, is Shoujo Tsubaki by Marugo Suehiro. I really love it. Like, especially if you watch the anime adaptation that was considered lost media until it was, I don't know, dug up somewhere by someone, I don't know who. It's really different when you watch it. Like, it's not in a traditional sense, and especially it doesn't have the typical structure. For example, in the West that we have the 3-act structure. It escapes all types of structures and all types of narration. It's really different and I love it. It's really artistic. So I recommend that. Although it is, it falls into the Eroguro genre, so it's probably not for everyone. I think some dumbass YouTuber, who the fuck was it? Some YouTubers say the most illegal anime out there, or the most banned anime out there. What the fuck does that mean? It's either banned or it's not banned. How can something be the most banned anime or whatever? They describe it as so cruel and so disgusting and it's so violent. No! Eroguro, and especially the Showa spirit. Like, it is a specific type of art. You either appreciate it or you don't. But it's not gross. It really isn't. I love it. And I'm really squeamish when it comes to, like, I don't know, let's say gore and stuff like that. But, hello, the anime man, yeah, probably him. I don't know, some dumbass YouTuber. But the anime man does have some dumb opinions, to be honest. Like, I don't watch him at all. I watched 1 or 2 of his videos and I thought they were dumb. Let's say I just don't vibe with his opinion on anything. So, I'm no look, I'm a small ass streamer on YouTube. I can punch up, okay? When a bigger YouTuber tries to bully me back, it's just bullying, okay? When I do it, it's punching up. When they do it, it's bullying, okay? But yeah, I don't really vibe with any of his opinions, especially when he tries to give his opinion on certain political things. Like, for example, why some lolicon material was banned in Australia. That video was so fucking dumb, oh my god. He really doesn't understand the law or anything behind the law. And doesn't understand, like, he doesn't understand anything. So I watched 1 or 2 videos and I really didn't vibe with them. And, is it his girlfriend or wife or whatever, who also made a video about Shoujo Tsubaki? I don't know. But their opinion are usually, like, similar. I don't watch them. I've never even watched a video of hers. And I only watched 1 or 2 videos of the anime man. Really don't vibe with them. So yeah, saying like Shoujo Tsubaki is so gross, it's so vile. Bro, it's just a piece of art and you either vibe with it or you don't. It's really not conventional in its structure, in its themes, in its way of portraying themes. But it's artistic. And it's nice to see that Inoue he appreciates this type of thing too. He's like, yeah, both of them made the same video with the same title. Oh, okay, so God damn it. Thanks for telling me, Epi, but yeah, so this is why I don't vibe with them. Anyway, it's nice to see that Inoue himself also appreciates when someone goes out of that mold when it comes to the medium. Like, you have specific expectations for a medium on how it is supposed to be delivered to you, the viewer. And when they break out of that mold, it does leave an impression in you. And sometimes you're also wondering, why didn't I come up with that? Or how could I do that and be an artist just like this artist? So yeah, I would say I recommend Shoujo Tsubaki. It's, if you're into experiencing something different. As I said, it's some things that are depicted there are gross, but in it itself, the story is beautiful. It's tragic. It's tragically beautiful. Anyway, next question. There were some beautiful scenes, like the water ripples, that really left an impression on me. I thought it shared something with Vagabond there. They're really not letting it go, huh? They're really not letting Vagabond go. And Inoue saying, when Musashi comes face to face with Sekshusai, Volume 11, there are these images of nature, rocks, flowers, and I've had someone tell me before that they didn't get what that was all about. I'm not sure I could give you the exact meaning behind it, but basically I want something about it to stay with people. The idea is for the reader to feel something, and then for that something to stay with him, whatever that something may be. I think watching a film like Tree of Life gives me courage as a creator in a way. How can I take universal things, soul, life, concepts, and give them form in order to share them with the world? How much story do I need? How straightforward do I have to make it? Seeing how far other artists are pushing the limits helps me deal with these questions. If you focus too much on making something easy to understand, you limit yourself. My goal has always been to make something that isn't so clearly defined, so it gives me courage when I come across works of art that are trying something similar. It makes me feel like I might be able to pull it off yet. This is something, yeah. This is something that I will forever remember. Someone somewhere said, art is started by the artist and it's finished by the viewer. So it's okay to just evoke something within the viewer or reader or whatever, and that they finish the meaning behind it or the impact of it in their own mind. So everyone has their own special relationship towards your material. Every reader who reads your thing or viewer who views your thing has their own connection towards that thing. And this connection is unique and has its own flavor and color. And when you manage to do that with your work, you've done it as an artist. When everyone can bring their own, just like I say, every person is like its own world. So getting to know a person is getting to know an entire world, because everyone has a different outlook on everything that is happening. Not just what is happening to them, around them, but also how they digest what is happening to them. That is also unique. So taking that uniqueness of life itself, of every person, and putting it under the magnifying glass with your artwork, that is art. That is how you succeed as an artist. When you can bring out that unique human experience with your work. Like, everyone is looking at the same thing, but everyone is thinking something else. Your intentions still come through, but there's still something there with your intentions that is left finished with the viewer or the reader. So, I like that. Yeah, all that is great. How about Vagabond, the interviewer, probably? That's a pink. Yeah, everyone is so mean to the interviewer. Next question. Do you ever feel like you can't quite express yourself through manga? I bet the answer is yes, but there's an entire fucking paragraph, 2 paragraphs waiting for us that Inoue is answering with. Marcel Duchamp said that, oh, I had no idea. He said that after a urinal art project, it's not the object itself that is art, but how and where we may see it. I don't know if that was what I read, but yeah. Inoue answered, if I had to say what manga is, I'd say it's something cheap and easy to read, something fun, something about something. Now, there's a lot of wriggle room to try different things within that frame, but in the end, it does have to be something that can be understood. There's no point in making something that can't be understood by a wide audience, or at least, there is no reason to make something like that into a manga. I would start thinking I might as well do it in some other form. So when I was doing Slam Dunk and Shonen Jump, which is a popular boys magazine, I had to work within the constraints of doing something that would sell a lot. You could almost say it's like an amusement park. You want people to enjoy themselves and come away saying that was fun, but that stopped being what I wanted to do. The world needs that sort of manga that anybody can enjoy, but I decided I don't have to be the one making it. But I am aiming for a mass audience. I think there's plenty of stuff out there that doesn't need to reach a mass audience, but I personally don't want to work the indie scene. I try quite hard to reach a wide audience and to make something that people can understand. But on the other hand, I don't need everyone to completely get it. It's a tricky balance that I think Fujimoto maintains, that he's a master of. So yeah, I think Fujimoto walks that balance quite well. Because his Chainsaw Man is a shonen comic. It reaches a wide audience, like a big audience, and it still is shonen, but it's also more than that. And it has some things that you don't quite understand. That you have to put a lot of work in as a reader to finish the art that was started by Fujimoto. A lot of subtlety, a lot of showing instead of telling, but as I said, it's still an artistic, a really new take, a fresh take on the genre itself, on the type of comic he's drawing, but he's still reaching a mass audience, while also doing his own thing. He's doing his own thing, but also it's being widely appreciated by so many different people. So I think Fujimoto is doing it well. But yeah, I'm hoping that in becoming a monthly series, Vagabond's position will change a little. It's come this far, and now it's entering a new stage. Almost like the manga has become an old man now, as opposed to Slam Dunk, which was a young manga. When I say that, I'm not talking about the 2 series being aimed at younger or older audiences here. I mean that the manga itself is like an old person. Let me put it this way. Michael Jordan retired at his peak, came back, won the championship 3 times, then retired again. I remember saying something at the time along the lines of, but don't you have to eventually peak and start losing? Michael Jordan is a very competitive man. For his first 6 years, he was criticized for not being a team player, but he slowly started overcoming his weakness until he was unbeatable, and then he retired. Something about that retirement struck me as unnatural, though. Sure, it's Jordan, but he's still part of a greater whole, I thought. Now, this is just my opinion as a total outsider who doesn't really know anything, and I know that one has to consider all the suffering and sacrifice that it takes to keep on winning, but at the time, what I remember thinking is that everyone has to eventually go through a decline and become a stepping stone for the next person. Jordan owns a team now, but he doesn't seem to be doing a great job managing it. In sports, your time as an active player really is your youth. It's only a fraction of your life. What comes up? Children screaming out there. In sports, your time as an active player really is your youth. It's only a fraction of your life. What comes afterwards is much longer. This might not be a great comparison, but I think this might be the difference between Vagabond and Slam Dunk. I feel right now like I need to accept the fact that I'm maturing, or maybe even starting to dry up. It's something I always technically knew was true, but it's time for me to truly accept the fact that there is no need to be the most popular artist out there, or the trendy artist that everyone's talking about, or even a particularly cool one. If this manga's reached that point, then maybe it's okay for me to just shrug it off when people make cracks about how this old manga's dragging on. But then, it's not really in my nature to be able to just draw a manga without an audience out there for it. Now, obviously things haven't gone that far downhill yet, but I just feel like I should be able to accept it if it does come to that. I don't know how to put it. Now think about that. Think about that. Hutch saying, you just described Lucky from I have no idea. He brings out people's favorite memories and experiences from his piano. I knew it. My mom is here. Hold on. Hello? You know what? We're just gonna finish this interview, and then I have to go. Things always, happen and come in the way between me and everything else. Okay. One more question. 2 more questions and then we're done. Are you saying you're going to draw the process of maturation in your manga? They really don't quite understand what he's trying to say. Inoue saying, I'm saying that it's alright if my manga becomes something unspecial, and I'm ready to try being a little dried up. Part of me had accepted it a long time ago, but really, if I heard someone make one of those "isn't that manga finished yet" cracks, then me until now would have gotten pissed off, whereas now I think I can take it a little better. If I were to put it in terms of music, it's like how I don't care if I'm not playing at the Budokan or Tokyo Dome or whatever, because playing out on some street corner is just fine by me. In fact, what I want to do is recapture the fun of drawing manga precisely without being fenced in by exterior influences like that. Drawing when I feel like it. That's what I'm saying. Last question. It sounds less like a matter of maturing and drying up and more like going back to an almost childlike innocence. Inoue saying, hey, you're right. They say that people become childish as they age. That makes me pretty old then, or pretty young, or something. I haven't really worked this all out mentally just yet. I might change my mind and start saying I had this all wrong. that's it. That's the interview. I'm gonna put the links to hold on. I'm gonna put the links to these 3 interviews into the description, and this is it for today. This has been a really long stream. I didn't expect it to last this long. So yeah, I go brew tea, streaming, I go on lunch break, streaming, I go home, still streaming. Yeah. This was a really long stream. I didn't expect it. I thought we'd be done within 1 hour, but then we had some fails as the first few interviews, and then my just going on rants nonstop. Alright, this is it for the Inoue interview streams. I hope we all got a good insight into his mind and his work process and the creation aspect of him. And that we all move on from Vagabond. He has moved on himself, okay? It's okay to do that. Alright. Next stream is tomorrow, and yeah, okay, now I'm not sure anymore because we're getting guests. Like, some guests are coming here and staying here. I probably won't be able to stream tomorrow and the day after tomorrow either. We have guests coming. I'm not sure, and we had guests come unannounced all the fucking time, so I can't really plan these streams. Anyway, this is it. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Thanks for coming. Have a nice day, evening, or night, wherever you are, and bye-bye.